Want to make sure we're on record. You ready to go? Okay. Good morning. It is 11:05, June 3rd, 2025. You are at a Wausau Waterworks Commission meeting at Wausau City Hall Council Chambers. And without objection, we're going to jump item number 3 up to number 1. It's an appreciation for Joe Jean. Joe, if you'd like to come on up. Joe started his career over in Green Bay Metropolitan Sewer District, if I remember right. 72. And then spent a cup of coffee or two here in Wausau, Public Works. And then once retired, took on the additional role of two and change terms on the Water Commission. So Joe, we appreciate your service and your continued service. I know you're taking on a couple other roles, but I'll read real quick. City of Wausau Waterworks recognizes Joe Jean in appreciation for 11.5 years of service to the Wausau Waterworks Commission and Water and Sewer Utility. The City of Wausau would like to thank you for your continued support, commitment, and advocacy for maintaining and improving our community during your tenure. The Mayor, City Council, Wausau Waterworks Commission, and utility staff thank you for your service to the City of Wausau. Presented June 2025, Doug Denny, Mayor, City of Wausau, Wausau Waterworks for you. Joe, you can have the mic before you go camping.
I wish I was going camping. I just would simply want to say thank you. Thank you for allowing me to, first of all, work for the City of Wausau. But secondly, I offered to staff, and I just got a phone call from Ryan at the sewer collection. He wanted to know what kind of pipe was in the ground. And anytime staff need an inquiry, if I can help, I'm offering that. It doesn't bother me to be called. So it's actually kind of an appreciation. So thank you all.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, Joe. Great serving with you.
Joe,
Stay in
we'll
touch.
see you around.
Stay in touch.
We'll leave the light on for you, Joe. All right, first item, and just to confirm, we do have a quorum. We have 2 members absent. First item is the approval of minutes of May 6, 2025. And those meeting minutes are in your packet. I would entertain a motion for the minutes from Robinson.
I'll second.
Second from Jim Force. Any questions, comments, or corrections? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes from May 6th signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Second item up is Director's Report on Utility Operations. A lot of good things to talk about this week, new and old. Eric, you want to lead us off?
Sure. As I said last month, there were some updates from the EPA. And so some of those most recent updates, as well as a highlighted memo and statement from the EPA. I just highlighted, especially on the PFAS stuff, what they're proposing to do. I expect more details on that. And then also from AWWA, their response and their review of the EPA's statement as well is in here. We do have, any questions on that, I guess, is before we move on at all. I do have a feeling that we will be seeing more information from them and more details. and hopefully some more information, you know, in general and data and exactly how they're going to proceed. I think that would be helpful for us at the local level.
Mr. Robinson.
I think the important thing to note is that EPA is not modifying the 4 parts per trillion for
Correct.
PFOS,
Yes.
PFOA and PFOS, which are driving Wausau. And then based on work that has been done generally, about 95% of the sites that have those two have others. So while they've delayed developing standards for many of the other PFOS compounds, generally you'll catch it with the PFOA and the PFOS sampling.
And, you know, I guess it's important to note that we are at or under that, and we did get some inquiries as to what this means. I think it really means very little to us at this point until they roll this out, because we're fortunately ahead of the game.
The lead service line update, it's going quite well. We did pause the contractor on actual replacements for about a week and a half, just simply because they were not caught up on restoration. They did catch up, and last week they began service line replacements again. So I was actually happy to see that. We've been working with CIP pretty closely, letting them know that restoration and final completion of the projects that they're doing at each of the home sites is very important. And so so they are doing a much better job this year than last year, than letting things fall behind.
I have a question, Mayor.
Oh, Mr. Force.
Eric, as you know, you and I received some correspondence from a resident regarding rock formation,
Yes.
and I wondered if that had been resolved, and if the person who asked me about it is okay with what we've told her. And
At this time, yes, she is okay. CIP's been in contact with her directly.
Okay.
You know, as far as any scheduling, how progress will go, and we've had a couple other individuals talk as well where areas of rock are a concern.
Okay.
And so they've been in contact with them as well, so. And if any of the commissioners get any feedback from the residents on that, we're happy to meet with them directly, so, to make sure that we resolve any concerns that they may have. Just let me know. We do anticipate something maybe in June that CIP will be planning, hitting kind of a milestone of 1,000 LSLs replaced. And so I think that's just kind of a recognition for the workforce, the residents, and stuff. So once that comes out and gets established, I'll notify the commission, the council. We'll send out the proper notices for possible quorums and stuff for each, and make sure everything's put together, so. There's some updates on where we're at with recruitment updates, and we did have a facility on the drinking water side, a booster station that was vandalized and broken into. Thankfully, it was not in operation, but they still opened some valves and stuff in there. So Scott can provide some details on that if you need anything.
Yeah, I mean, it was broke into, some young individuals. They turned themselves in after the fact, but initially kind of flooded the booster station. Luckily, none of the pumps were on at the time when they flooded it, so they did dry out and didn't cause any damage. We initially tried them the day it was flooded, and nothing worked, so we were looking at probably $50,000 worth of damage, which ended up drying out, and they're getting off cheap, so they're relatively lucky with the 480 volt power going into that building and blowing water around. They could have very easily been killed, so.
Could have been electrocuted.
Yes.
so, Scott, I had trouble hearing all of that. Where was this, and has somebody been apprehended?
Booster station at Old Coach Lane. They turned themselves in after the fact. I think their parents had.
Are there criminal charges?
I'm not sure. The officer's working on the report right now, and we are providing them with damages caused. So we spent some time researching and seeing if anything was damaged during the event. and damage was minimal. Like I said, a lot of this stuff dried out, so
You said 50,000, that was the estimate?
it could have been, yes.
Could have been, okay. I guess the question that follows on here is, are these facilities secure? Are there, television monitors? Are we doing anything to prevent this from happening? Is there anything we can do?
And that's why we want to bring it back for actual action, is because we are looking at upgrading our SCADA system. Some of the upgrades we're going to do are going to allow us to have more video capacity, so we can add cameras to the ones we have. And then we would also like to look at maybe possibly doing some fencing or some other things too.
Well, they're out in the community, out and about. I mean, these locations, so they are remote. We'll bring it back next time.
And we do have the issues on SCADA, so we have intrusion alarms, and we do have motor sensors and items that are on, that will alarm on SCADA. But if we're a half hour, 45 minutes, an hour out, a lot of damage can be done in that time.
I just can't imagine what the motive is here, why someone would do this. They're not stealing anything, they're not gaining anything personally from, is it just,
We're seeing a large increase in this kind of action. So we have another booster station that the door is partially kicked in because somebody tried getting into it. And we have another one that was vandalized. Somebody stole the hose. I mean, it's just, I don't know, degradation of society. I don't have a good explanation, but
it'd be interesting to see how, I assume the police are investigating this,
they are.
and I'd like to see a report on particularly why somebody would do this.
Yep,
Okay.
we can bring that back.
On wastewater operations, we had technicians obtain their CDL licenses, so that's something that we pay for. So that's good. They're making progress. We're hiring people without any certifications, so. We have the projects, the headwork screening project that is going to start in June here. That'll be a significant project. Timeline is through late summer of '26, so it will be nice to have that done, but it will be disruptive. And then the wastewater, the Washington Street siphon replacement schedule. So that's over on Washington Street. There was a question about disruption in traffic over there. We're going to close one lane of Washington Street, just on, but there won't be full road closures on one side or anything like that. But it will be neck down in front of the chamber, down to one lane, probably for a few weeks until they get out of the street, so.
Other question? Eric, in your report, you said I should have an update for the meeting on Tuesday. This is for the water distribution maintainer position.
Oh. Did he?
Yeah, and I checked with HR on the way here. We have not heard back from the second candidate yet.
I mean, our batting average is not very good here.
No, not
10
very
applicants,
good at all.
one offer. Okay.
Anything else? Director's report. Headwater screening project to commence in June. All right, item 3. We took care of with Joe. He's out of here with his plaque heading north. Item 4, discussion and update and review of utility staffing challenges, retention, and recruiting. Late addition to your packet was the memo showing the current number of employees, 20 and 16 in the water and sewer, proposed number 22 and 19, and the Baker Tilly study from 22. That's a lot of info, but pretty good reading on some of their justifications.
Yeah, I brought this back. HR director was not available. She had other obligations today, but she will be coming at the July meeting. And she has been reviewing all the past information over the past 4 to 5 years, so, and she'll be able to provide you with her opinions on the information provided and, you know, potentially have a discussion about next steps with the utility. I apologize for the late memo. I did not get that over to Gina in a timely manner, so that one's on me.
Mr. Robinson.
Could I request that we break this issue down into two components? And I'd like to have one being recruitment and retention from the perspective of, are we able to recruit the right people? And then once we have them, can we retain them? And what policies do we need to advance that? And the separate issue is, what are the staffing levels? And what would the cost associated with increasing the staff to meet the report's recommendations? So if we could break it down into sort of how do we deal with the current allocation of staff, and specifically what policies do we need to take a look at? A fringe benefit package? Are there some other incentives that we need relative to hiring? That whole concept of CDL and our onboarding and the costs associated with that. But we can't keep our current positions filled. And before we start looking at new ones, I think we have to address that root problem of how do we do with it. So if we could get recommendations relative to salary schedules, attraction, recruitment, retention policies, that would be extremely helpful. And then understanding that we've got these reports, if we could deal with that sort of in a sequential manner.
Sure.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, we have all that information that was put together over the last few years that we've presented here, so we'll just update
Yeah.
those numbers and bring them back and break them out for you. Yep.
Mr. Force.
I remember this report, and it's been 2, maybe 3 years ago. I would like to see us give a quick summary of the recommendations that were contained in the Baker-Tilly report and what our response has been. Salaries were just one of the components of this report. There were comments on safety, there were comments on asset inventory, and other activities that Baker-Tilly found lacking in our operation. And I'm not suggesting that they still are, but I would like to have an update on what we did in response to some of the comments from the Baker-Tilly study.
For sure. I'll take care of that for the next meeting.
Thank you.
Anyone else on this topic? Okay, you'll see that next meeting. Item 5, and this one we will have a vote on, discussion and possible action approving wastewater 2024 compliance maintenance annual report, known as the CMAR, and a resolution, and that is in the back of your packet. Would entertain a
Yeah.
motion from Robinson and a second from Watson. Mr. Robinson.
Well, I think Eric was looking to comment, and I'll wait till.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Lindman.
This comes annually, as you know, and it's really our pretty much our self-grading of the wastewater facility, which is reviewed by the DNR, kind of on where we're at, and it also highlights any violations that we've had or anything like that. As you can see, as you read through the report, our effluent has been very good. Biosolids has been very good. So the plant has been running well, and staff has been doing a very good job with the new plant upgrades and so, like I said, we'll be doing that headworks, the screening and everything coming up starting this month. So hopefully we won't have any significant impacts on our final effluent and biosolids with that project and the disruptions. So.
Ms. Robinson.
it is a good report, and I think it reflects the work that's being done by our staff, and I thank you for that. A couple, I just would like to highlight one, and that deals with the issue of phosphorus removal. And again, there's a burden placed upon people that live in an urban setting to remove phosphorus when most of the phosphorus contribution comes from rural areas, and that needs to be addressed, but I think we're making good headway. The one question that I had is it looked like we're starting to trend a little bit higher slightly on suspended solids in it. Are there any concerns that are raised with that? Again, it's incremental increases, but it seems like it's trending in a increasing manner in suspended solids.
Yeah. When I talked to Ben about that, and as well as some of the phosphorus too, he doesn't feel it's a concern at this point, but they're definitely monitoring that, the phosphorus as well. But as far as anything that they're doing at the plant and the processes, I'll have to refer to Ben on if they're making any changes. I'm not sure for that, TSS. The one comment I'll make on phosphorus as well is, we have the capability to lower phosphorus even more with our new plant. We're meeting our, effluent requirements. We're exceeding those. One of the discussions that we continue to have with the DNR and others is how, with this phosphorus trading is typically done with outside entities, right? And I was hoping that we would be able to trade internally with our stormwater, so that we could keep our rate revenues in-house, trade it, to help meet our compliance on the stormwater side. I think that there's still some questions on how that happens. I believe, I want to say it was Appleton, don't quote me on that, but there was another municipality that's a little bit bigger than us is looking at the same thing. And so I think that would be beneficial for us if we could do that, because I do know with the stormwater quality issues and the nutrients and stuff, that's going to be a continued issue moving forward as well. So,
Mr. Forrest.
Eric, a question, and I guess I would address it to Ben, but he's not here today. Looking at the power consumption and the use of biogas, which according to the report, some is flared off, but we are using some for heat and electricity. Are there any organizations that are available to us anymore in view of the current reductions in government services that come in and do an analytical review of energy use? I know I just wrote a story on DeKalb, Illinois, which had received some support from GE and also the state of Illinois, and had done a study that had really saved them a lot of money on energy expenses. And not to say that we're not doing a good job, but are there services available anymore to come in and do an analysis and make some recommendations?
it's a good question. I do not know that right now off the top of my head, so, but.
Be nice for
I
the
can
city
ask
to
around.
investigate that.
I can ask around
Okay.
on that, Jim. I think one of the things that we've struggled with too, the new boilers, we're having an issue with the moisture in our biogas to run the new boilers. And so that's been an ongoing issue since they were installed. And so we can run our turbines, that's not an issue. But we may have to do some modifications on the biogas side in order to remove some of that moisture. So that may be a project that's coming up. So.
Okay, with a motion and a second, so this will, this resolution then will come from, go to council, and they will approve the submittal of the CMAR. Correct? So
Yes,
that'll go
correct.
mid-June, June 10th?
Yes.
Okay.
Next week.
So with a motion and a second, all those in favor of passing this to council, the CMAR report, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that passes. Item 6 is a discussion on adjusting the date and time of the July Commission meeting since it falls on the first Tuesday would be July 1st. That's the week of the 4th. it's not the fourth holiday, but the suggestion was to take a look at the following Tuesday, which would be the 8th. Any questions or comments, suggestions, either or per 8th?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter? Good either way?
For the 8th?
All right, we'll put it down for the 8th.
Okay.
Entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion from Watson, second from Robinson. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Have a good day. 31 minutes, actually 25 minutes counting our late start, Mr. Robinson.